For math today, we're going to do a page from our Tarea book, and it's going to be on page 77. There are 3 parts to the front of this page. Here's part 1, part 2, and part 3. And in each part, the directions change, so you have to be careful. Part 1 is this chunk up here. So I just made a line so that I remembered that when I get to this part, part 2, the directions change. Part 1 says count and write the number. Circle the number that is greater. So we're going to circle the number that is greater after we count. What does greater mean? Bigger. It means bigger, larger, huge, lots of different words you can use. Greater. So remember also we have to count each group by itself. We're not adding them up. We're not putting them together. So the first one's done for us. Let's try the next one. How many dots do you see in the first group? 2. And how many dots do you see in the second group? 3. Which group is greater? 2 or 3? 3 is greater. Let's count the first group in the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many are in the second group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which group is greater? 4 or 5? Which number is bigger? 4 or 5? 5. All right, so try the next 3 on your own and then come back and we'll check. But don't go on to part 2 yet because the directions change. All right, so all I did was the counting. And now you can get your checking finger ready and I will circle the greater one and then you can check to make sure you also circled the greater number. So for this bottom chunk up here, I got the numbers 2 and 3 and I circled 3 because 3 is greater than 2. Remember, if you need to fix anything, use your eraser. You can pause the video so you have some time. For the next 2 groups, I counted 5 and 3. And I circle 5 because 5 is greater than 3. For the last part, or the last 2 groups in part 1, I counted 4 and 2. And I circle 4 because 4 is greater than 2. All right, so for part 2, it says count and write the number. Those directions are the same. Circle the number that is less. So this time we're going to circle the number that is less, which means smaller, tinier. So let's try this first one together. Let's count the groups, each on their own. 1, 2, 3, 4, and write the number. 1, 2, 3, and write the number. Before we were circling the number that's greater, but now you have to change it in your brain because we're going to circle the number that is less or smaller. So which number is less or smaller? 4 or 3? 3 is definitely the smaller number. Let's try the next one together. Count the dots in the first group. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then count the dots in the second group. 1, 2. Which number is less or smaller? The number 2. We'll do one more together, and then you can try the last 3 on your own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first number is 5, and the second number is 1, 2, 3. So which number is less? Remember, we're going smaller this time. 3 is smaller. So try these 3 on your own. Circle the number that is less, and then come back and we'll check. All right, so I counted the dots up again, but I'm going to circle it as we talk through them, and you can check yours with your checking finger. For the two groups right here, I counted 1 and 4, and the number that is less is 1. For the next two groups, I counted the numbers 2 and 3. And I circled 2 because it's less than 3. And then I counted 5 and 4. And I circled 4 because 4 is less than 5. All right, so here we're going to write the numbers, or for part 3. Sorry, I'm moving on too fast. Let me slow down. So now we did part 1 and part 2. Next, we're going to do part 3. Write the numbers 1 through 20 in order. 1. You can do it along with me, or you can pause it and then count, however you want. But I'm going to write them so you can see me write them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Writing your numbers in order is great practice. That's something you could also do over the summer, and it's super easy to do, and you could do it with chalk outside. You could do it with markers in a coloring book. You could do it with a pencil, however you want, but writing those numbers, not forgetting those numbers over summer will help you so much in first grade. On the back, we have some comparing to do. Part 4 says, draw lines to match. Circle the extras. Write the numbers and compare them. Write G for greater than and L for less than. So there's a lot to do on the back here, and I like to do it in a different order than the directions tell us. So the first one is already done. We're going to move on to the second one. The first thing we have to do is count. It's just like counting 2 different groups like we did on the front. This time we're going to count 2 different rows. So the top row has how many apples? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The bottom row has how many apples? 1, 2, 3. So now we can easily say, when we look at these 2 numbers, which one is greater than? Which one's the greater number, the bigger number? That's 6. So we're going to put greater. We're going to put a G there because that means greater than. And which number is less, or which group is less than? 3. 3 apples are less than 6. So we're going to put an L for less. Now, when we match up, that helps us see where our extras are, because I just matched up these, but can I match again? There are no more apples down here. So that means these are the extras. That's why this top row is greater, because it's got extras. That's why the bottom row is less, because it doesn't have any extras. Let's try the next one. We start by counting our groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 oranges on the top. And now let's find out how many are on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With these 2 numbers, we can decide which one is greater and which one is less. 4 is greater or less than 8? It is less. 4 is smaller, less than. And that means 8 is greater than or bigger. Greater. If 8 is greater, it should have the extras. So when we match up, let's see where the extras are. Match the first two. We can keep matching. Oh, I see another match and another match. Oh, I think that's it. We're out of oranges on the top. That means all of these that didn't get a match are the extras. And remember what we said, the extras go by the greater number. Is that true? Greater, extras, bigger? Yes. On the next 2 rows, if you had to give me directions, what would be the first thing you would say? Count the lemons. Do I count all of them in one big group? No, I count them in their own groups. So let's start with the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I write it in the box. It's good to write the numbers down after you've counted them so you don't forget them. Then we count the lemons at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. And we write that in the box. Then we decide which number is greater and which number is less. 5 is greater and 3 is less than. Then we have to match up until we can't match anymore, which is right there. And we circle those 2 poor lemons who don't have a match. If this row has the extras, that must mean it's greater than the row with no extras. Is that true? Yes, it is. Greater, less than. All right, why don't you try the cherries? Pause the video and come back when you're done to check. Okay, so I counted my groups. I got 6 cherries for the top row and 8 cherries for the bottom row. I know that 8 is greater and 6 is less than. Then I match up until I can't match cherries anymore. And that's where I have to stop, and I circle those extras. So if this row has the extras, it must be greater than. And that's what I decided. G is greater for the number 8, and the number 6 is less.